Hey everyone, and welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. I'm James.
And I'm Maya, and today, we're diving into a topic that hits home for so many English learners: how to build your confidence and silence that annoying inner critic while learning a new language.
Oh yes. That voice in your head that says, you're not good enough, or, don't speak, you'll sound stupid. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone.
We've both been there, haven't we? Even as native speakers, that voice shows up sometimes, especially when we try to speak another language, or do something outside our comfort zone.
Exactly. And for English learners, it can feel 10 times louder. But here's the good news, that voice can be managed. And confidence? It can be built like a muscle.
So in this episode, we're going to unpack why the inner critic shows up, how to recognize it, and most importantly, how to stop it from running the show.
Let's start with something simple but powerful. Confidence is not something you magically have. It's something you practice. Just like you practice vocabulary or pronunciation.
Totally agree. And one of the biggest myths is that confident people never feel doubt. The truth is, they just keep going despite the doubt. They've learned to act even with the fear.
And speaking of doubt, let's talk about where the inner critic comes from. Sometimes it's from past experiences, maybe someone laughed at your accent, or you got corrected harshly in class.
Or you compared yourself to others who speak more fluently. And social media makes that even worse. You see someone giving a TED talk in perfect English and you think, I could never do that.
But comparison is a confidence killer. Your journey is your journey. And progress doesn't have to look like someone else's highlight reel.
Let's try something practical. If you're listening right now, think about the last time your inner critic spoke up. Maybe you wanted to join a conversation, but held back. What did that voice say?
And now, flip it. If your best friend was in that situation, what would you say to them? You'd probably say, go for it, you've got this, right?
That's the voice you need to start using with yourself. Talk to yourself like someone you're rooting for. Because you are worth rooting for.
I love that. And here's another tool: celebrate small wins. Spoke one sentence in English today? That counts. Watched a movie without subtitles and understood half of it. That's a win.
Every small moment adds up. Confidence isn't built on huge achievements, it's built on consistency. On showing up again and again, even when you feel unsure.
And here's something I always tell my students: your mistakes are your teachers. If you're not making mistakes, you're not growing.
Yes. And you'll never silence your inner critic completely, but you can turn down its volume. With time, the voice of self-belief gets louder.
We'll talk more about how to build that voice, how to shift your self-talk, and how to reframe fear into fuel for growth.
Because that's what this journey is really about, not just learning English, but learning to trust yourself again. Every word you speak is a step toward confidence, and every moment of doubt is a chance to rewrite the story you tell yourself.
And by the end of today's episode, we hope you'll feel a little stronger, a little more prepared, and a lot more capable of saying, yes, I can do this. English is just a tool, but belief? That's the real power.
Let's keep going, because confidence is built one brave moment at a time.
And one brave moment might be as simple as ordering coffee in English, or introducing yourself in a Zoom call, or raising your hand in an online class and saying, excuse me, can I ask a question? These don't have to be big public speeches. They're tiny sparks of courage that build momentum.
Yes, and sometimes we wait for confidence to show up before we act, but actually, action creates confidence. You have to step forward first, and confidence follows. It doesn't lead, it responds.
Exactly. So even if your voice shakes, even if you forget a word or use the wrong tense, the most important thing is that you keep speaking. The only way to become fluent is to keep using your voice, over and over again.
And here's a practical mindset shift that helped a lot of our listeners. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at English," say, "I'm still learning English." That one word, still, makes a world of difference.
It takes the pressure off. You're not supposed to be perfect. You're in progress. And there's something really beautiful about being in progress. You're evolving.
Another tool you can use is recording yourself speaking. Not to criticize, but to observe. See what's working. Listen to the parts where you sounded natural, even if it was just one sentence.
You can even keep a little confidence journal. At the end of each day, write down one thing you did in English that made you proud. It doesn't matter how small. I listened to a podcast and understood 3 new words. That's growth.
And don't forget the power of community. Join English speaking groups, comment on videos, or talk to language partners. Being surrounded by other learners reminds you that you're not alone.
Plus, when you support someone else, maybe compliment their speaking or help them with a word, you start to see how capable you really are. Confidence grows when we give it, too.
And here's the thing, your inner critic might never disappear completely. But you can choose not to obey it. You can hear that voice and say, "Thanks, but I'm still going to speak anyway."
Yes. That's when the shift happens. When you stop waiting for confidence and start moving through the fear, even with doubt sitting in the backseat. It doesn't get to drive anymore.
And one last reminder before we wrap up, fluency doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being consistent. Being kind to yourself. And being willing to sound imperfect, again and again.
Keep listening, keep speaking, keep showing up. That's how confidence is born, and that's how you'll become the speaker you dream of being.
And I think it's important to also recognize the source of your inner critic. A lot of times, that voice isn't actually yours. It might be something a teacher once said, or a moment where someone laughed when you made a mistake. But you don't have to carry that forever. You get to rewrite the story now.
Absolutely. And that new story doesn't have to be about being fluent or perfect. It can be about becoming braver, more expressive, more yourself in English. That's a powerful shift.
And if you ever feel stuck or frustrated, take a step back and notice how far you've come. Maybe last year you couldn't understand English podcasts, and now you're listening to this one. That's real progress.
Right. And even on the days where you feel like you're not improving, just showing up is part of the growth. There are silent improvements happening under the surface, just like seeds growing underground before they sprout.
Yes. And confidence builds over time, like a muscle. It's okay if you feel shaky now. Every conversation you have, every time you try again, you're getting stronger, even if it doesn't feel like it yet.
And even if your sentences aren't perfect, if you're expressing your thoughts, making someone smile, asking a question, that's real communication. And it deserves to be celebrated.
So when your inner critic speaks up, remind yourself, "I'm learning. I'm improving. I'm doing something hard, and I'm not giving up."
Because that's what truly matters, not how many grammar rules you know, but how much heart you put into trying. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and that confidence will catch up to you.
And another thing that helps silence that inner critic is changing the way you talk to yourself. Like, what if instead of saying, "I'm terrible at speaking," you said, "I'm still learning, and that's okay." That small change can shift your entire mood.
Exactly. You wouldn't talk to your friend the way your inner critic talks to you. You wouldn't say, "You're so bad at this," or "You'll never get it right." You'd probably say something like, "You're doing great, just keep going." So why not offer yourself the same kindness?
It's all about building a mental environment where learning feels safe, not scary. That's when you start taking more risks, raising your hand, starting a conversation, recording yourself, even if you're nervous. That's how confidence is built, by doing.
And every time you do that, Even if you mess up a little, you're proving to yourself that you can. You're teaching your brain that mistakes aren't dangerous, they are part of the process. That's a huge step in learning any skill, especially something as personal as a language.
Yes. And honestly, people don't remember your mistakes the way you do. Most of the time, they're just happy you're trying to connect. They're not judging you, they're probably impressed you're even speaking in a second language at all.
And the more you speak, the more you realize, wait, I can do this. I just need to keep going. That's where the real confidence comes from, not perfection, but momentum. Repetition. Trusting the process.
And even when your progress feels invisible, like nothing's happening, just remember, it is. Your brain is working behind the scenes. Words are sticking. Patterns are forming. Fluency doesn't show up all at once, it sneaks up on you when you least expect it.
So next time that inner critic whispers in your ear, try replacing it with a coach's voice. Say, this is hard, but I've done hard things before. Or, I'm not fluent yet, but I'm on my way. That's how we quiet the doubt. Not by ignoring it, but by responding with belief.
And another powerful way to build confidence is to celebrate small wins. Did you manage to order coffee in English today? Awesome. Did you say hello to a new person? That's progress. Recognizing these moments helps your inner critic take a backseat.
Absolutely. When you focus on what you can do rather than what you can't, you rewire your brain to notice success more often. Over time, this creates a positive feedback loop, making you more eager to practice and less afraid to speak up.
Also, practicing in low-pressure environments helps. Joining friendly conversation groups or language exchanges where everyone is learning can reduce that fear of judgment. You realize everyone makes mistakes, and that creates a safe space for growth.
And don't forget the power of preparation. When you prepare some phrases or questions ahead of time, you give yourself a safety net. It's like having a script you can fall back on while you build your natural flow.
Yes. Preparation builds confidence because it reduces the unknowns. But then, it's important to step out of that comfort zone gradually. Try improvising, responding to unexpected questions, or sharing your thoughts spontaneously.
That's the real magic, balancing preparation with risk-taking. It's where you learn to trust yourself and your English abilities more and more, until speaking English starts to feel less like a challenge and more like a natural part of who you are.
Another great tip is to remind yourself that everyone's language journey is unique. Comparing yourself to others only fuels that inner critic. Instead, focus on your own progress, your own pace, and celebrate how far you've come.
Exactly. And sometimes, it helps to keep a journal or record yourself speaking. When you look back after a few weeks or months, you can actually hear the improvements. That's concrete proof that you're growing, even if it doesn't always feel that way day to day.
Plus, surrounding yourself with positive influences, whether it's friends, teachers, or online communities, can make a huge difference. When you have cheerleaders rooting for you, it's easier to drown out that negative inner voice.
And speaking of voices, practicing mindfulness or relaxation techniques can calm your mind before speaking. Deep breaths, grounding exercises, or even visualization can reduce anxiety and make it easier to focus on your message instead of your fears.
Right, because when your mind is calm, you're more open to learning and less likely to get stuck on mistakes. It's all about creating mental space where confidence can grow naturally, without that harsh self-judgment getting in the way.
So, to wrap up today's episode, remember that building confidence and silencing your inner critic is a journey, one that takes patience, practice, and kindness toward yourself. Celebrate your progress, prepare thoughtfully, embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, and create a positive environment around your English learning.
Exactly. Keep speaking, keep trying, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. Your voice matters, and the more you use it, the stronger your confidence will become. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the British Accent Podcast.
We hope you found these tips helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your fellow English learners. Until next time, keep shining and keep speaking English with confidence.
See you in the next episode.